Stories like this intrigue listeners and fill them with a sense of wonder. It is a bit eerie, but for some, they may not mind the spirit that lingers around the house and tidies up a bit. However, there are always those stories about the not-too-friendly ghosts who hunt and torment the living. What Terry tells us next is truly spine-tingling.
Down the street from where Bozo's family lived was the Helms house. The Helms house is still there. And when it was built by Mr. Helms, it was just a little salt box type of house, just a small thing. And as more children came, they ended up having 11. As more children came, they went up and out, and it got bigger. It's quite beautiful today. And anyway, in the early years, before all the children were born, there was a little girl who was born, and she died. And so as the years went on and others began to live in the house, it's 150 years old, they were really bothered by a baby crying and a woman wailing. Wailing is what they used to do instead of just crying. That's crying real loud. And so eventually, because this was very disturbing to the people that lived in the house, they didn't know where it was coming from. And they probably, all of them, didn't know how this house had grown. Apparently, when the baby died, when it was a smaller house, they buried her in the front yard. And would eventually build over that spot, which is why they heard it in the house. And so, finally, to appease everybody and to maybe the most for that baby, they had her body exhumed. They knew about where it was and found it. Had her body exhumed and put her up in the plot with the rest of her family in the cemetery.
Was it the ghost that moved the woman's jewelry in our first story, or did she simply misplace them when she took them off? Was a house really haunted for 150 years before the body of a little girl was exhumed to her family's grave? Perhaps these stories are just ways of explaining our subconscious anxiety about things that are dear to us, like jewelry or a proper burial. The truth is that these stories, no matter true or false, affect us all. Even when we die, these stories will live on past death as ghosts.